Okay, Lancaster Lebanon League Media Day. Gosh, I couldn't think of any better person to start our coaches' interviews than Doug Dahms from Wilson. How are you, sir?
Oh, good, thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's been a great off season, I think, for just about everybody. I know that we were over at the Mid-Penn Media Day earlier this week, and most of the coaches we had a complete off season. Has that been, how was it for you?
Well, let's face it. COVID's not done yet, but let's hope the worst of it's behind us. It was great just being able to have the kids there all the time, not have to deal with masks nonstop, not having this kid out every week, this kid out this week, this kid out this week. We live and die in our off-season programs.
Sure.
It's where we get. So it was good to be back.
Yeah, it was good to be back. And so talk a little bit about, being back here. With the, Section 1, not so many changes here in the LL League other than, traditional, rival Reading High being back in the LL. So there's not really all the hoopla for you on, traveling different places and playing different teams. But you are, you're playing a lot of different teams on your schedule this year than you normally have, right?
Yeah, we picked up a few. Unfortunately, nobody ever wants to play us in the league. So, you call and are you open? No, we're not open. Then you see they're open the next day, and it's but I think the Berks LL merger is great. I think it's great for the smaller schools. I think it's great for those mid-range schools because now, they're not going to play 4 or 5 pushovers every year. They're going to have a pretty tough schedule all the way through. And Section 1's really been getting better. Hempfield's, George Egger's done a great job there coming up. Horn's doing a nice job. Penn Manor's getting better every year. Cedar Crest is up there. So, Reading and Lancaster McCaskey, new coaches, we'll wait and see, sleeping giants. But Section 1's getting interesting, to say the least. And our schedule, opening with Roman Catholic.
Well, at least you get them at home, right? You get them at home?
We do have them at home. But, they've got...
Well, that time,
the defensive end, tight end, and then their wide receiver. They get the 2 big stomping tackles. The other defensive end's getting looks from the BCS. We're gonna have our hands full. But from what I understand, that whole Philadelphia Catholic, they're recruiting you're not allowed to say that, right, Pet? Right.
That's all right.
They're just robbing each other blind. So, we can only hope that it dilutes it a little bit so they don't all end up at St. Joe's Prep.
Yeah. No, it's a very interesting, dynamic, I think, for, you guys and how you've gone out and because of the fact that nobody plays you, the teams that you've got to schedule. But, the team that you got coming back, how many returners do you have coming back?
2 on offense and 4 on defense. so
a fairly young team, fairly young team.
We're going to be very young. We have a real strong junior class, but the problem is it's very hard to win with the juniors.
It's a blessing and a curse, right?
Yeah, they're not seasoned, We've got a young offensive line that's untested. That's going to be a big question mark for us, how they progress, and then obviously we're going to be starting a junior quarterback. So, not sure who yet, but we'll see.
that's what time will tell. Yeah. But usually the cupboard is never bare at Wilson. There, you always have some kids. The talk a little bit about your feeder program. Your youth football program at Wilson is something to marvel at. Just talk a little bit about how you get these guys ready to play high school football.
Well, our youth program, we have 2 of them, Van Reed and Lincoln Park, and most of the coaches are ex-Wilson football players. The nice thing is a lot of them aren't fathers. They're just ex-Wilson football players. So they instill, pretty much everything we do. And we have a pretty good hand in it. Our offensive and defensive coaches spend a lot of time with those guys. So, between the 2 programs, we bring... I think they have over 300 kids in the 2 programs this year, and then then we have the 2 middle schools, which not
a lot of school districts have anymore, especially in Berks County.
Yeah, and we usually carry, each of them will carry probably 35 to 45 kids in the 7th and 8th grade teams, and then unfortunately we only have 1 9th grade team. I was pushing hard for 2, but didn't get it because I like that extra year where everybody's getting some work. But it starts from the bottom, and even our flag football, our kids that coach flag football, everything's targeted towards Friday night at Wilson at Gursky Stadium. So
do you use the same kind of terminology? I mean, are they using the same kind of offense that you guys are using in the high school?
They do it as best they can do it at that level.
Sure.
I mean, everybody. I mean, they're not going to run four wides at
you never know nowadays.
Well, it's funny because Chad Henney just left to go back to Kansas City, and his son played youth football out there because they live out there during the season, and he said they're all four wides and throwing the ball and he's 10. And that's what they go. I mean, Berks County, it doesn't look that way. It looks more like football in the 70s and the early 80s when it was two tight ends, a flanker, two backs or three backs.
Yeah.
But they use a lot of the terminology we use, so the kids get used to it. A lot of the plays are called very similarly. They don't run a lot of RPO or midline stuff. They don't have that level yet, but But,
do they even know what those terms mean at age 10?
No, I don't think so. One or two, coach's son or something. But yeah. I mean, I give great kudos out to our youth program and our middle school and our freshman program because, they just buy into what we do and they teach the way we teach it, and we go from there.
And it, obviously, hopefully it benefits, not only you and the school, but the kids too. When they understand the expectations, and that's the best part, right?
Yeah, and it builds. It gets a little more time each year, a little more demands each year. But by the time they get to high school,
they better be ready.
They better be ready because the demands are very heavy.
Well, listen, Doug, thank you very much. Thank you for all your support over the years. I really appreciate this man. I tell you what, some of the times and conversations that we've had following games there, he's been so special. I mean, not only in victory but defeat. Doug Dahms, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, take care now. Yep.